You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
James McOnie, part of our Sundays, Crowd Goes Wild, Alternative Commentary Collective, Kiwi Football Fix, other bits and pieces. How are you, mate?
Still buzzing really, Piney, let's be honest. Thursday night was one of the greatest nights in New Zealand sporting history, and so lucky to be there, witness it, and how did you feel after that?
Oh, I just absolutely loved it. It was like you, I just had a rosy glow I couldn't get to sleep afterwards. I don't know about you going in, but, I kind of thought, okay, the Philippines on Tuesday is the game that New Zealand will target. So, Norway, let's just see how we go. I just thought it was terrific.
Yeah, the way the football ferns played was just magnificent. Such a good advertisement because there were over 1 million viewers, right, in New Zealand, and who knows around the world. I saw Ian Wright tweeting about it as we went, going, great centre forward play from Hannah Wilkinson. This is Ian Wright of Arsenal and England fame, just weighing in on how the Ferns were going. But I actually, if I was to break down that move, I thought it was the perfect football move. You can't fault it. Bowen to CJ Bott, India Page Riley with the through ball, Jackie Ham with the pace, a touch, the perfect cross, and then, of course, the clinical finish from Hannah Wilkinson. That's provided one of the greatest sporting moments, going to be hard to beat. The photographs, everything, the emotion, just a perfect moment in sport.
Yeah, and it's brilliantly described. And what it also did was it gave this tournament the boost into the New Zealand public consciousness that we all weren't really sure that it would get, but hoped that it would. And then we had another 41,000 turnout yesterday to watch the US play.
That's the thing. This tournament is a behemoth. Just before we leave the Ferns, because yes, they do have that game. I asked all my football mates, who's your top three, who did you like? Because when you're watching live, it's a bit different from people at home and a bit different from people like Jacob Spoonley, who's in the Matrix, And everyone had a different top three, which is what I loved, Bonnie Jansen, different top three. Everybody had their picks, and that's what I think just showed it was a complete Ferns performance.
So what should our expectations be now? Because they should, off the back of that, go into the game against the Philippines on Tuesday as favourites, win that, and they've got 1 foot in the round of 16. What are we talking about here? Is there enough emotion and hype wrapped around a home tournament that, I don't know, the Ferns could go further than the round of 16?
I think they could. It will definitely depend on the draw. I watched England last night, and I wasn't afraid. That's the European champions right there. And I thought that Haiti were incredible. There are players in these other nations. They have some amazing X factor. Dumornay, if you want to watch a player who's on the rise for Haiti, just superb. So yes, it will depend a little bit on the draw. It's in the. But I think it's some stars for New Zealand to be able to compete. This is what I think is being at home. All the players here, being at home in camp, sorting out that selection. Remember that combination, that 11, had only been tried once before, and that was a week earlier in Napier against Vietnam.
Yeah, it was just so good to watch. Did you watch? I know there's lots going on, but did you catch any of Japan last night? I watched that game. They were amazing, man.
There have been some incredible goalkeeping performances. So stand up the Zambian goalkeeper, the Costa Rican goalkeeper.
Yes.
So even though those are I guess heavy-ish defeats, what you see is the quality all round in the tournament, and I think that's where they're going to be fans for life. I'm now a Haiti fan. I loved what the Japanese team did, but that Zambian goalkeeper, well, actually, it was the reserve goalie that came on and saved one as well.
Yes, indeed.
So, hey, Piney, one thing before we leave the Football World Cup, there was one bit of feedback, though, wasn't there, that I got a lot on social media and from friends saying, where is Piney? So can you give us anything, Piney? It's your show, but I'd love to know, are you going to commentate the game on Tuesday? Will we have you for the next two Ferns games?
I don't know whether I'm really at liberty to discuss these high-level negotiations. All I'll say, James, is that if a microphone is offered, then it's very unlike me to turn it down.
You know what? I really would have hoped for a better quote for your ZB mates to put in the next bulletin, but I'll take that as a yes, and that the nation can expect Piney to be commentating the next 3 Ferns games, because we are going through, surely.
Oh, you have to think so now. I mean, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, but, that win over Norway was, what a launching pad. We'll look forward to seeing how they go in their next 2 group games, and then, yes, as you say, on towards the knockout rounds as well. Other bits and pieces to mop up. The Warriors were good again, weren't they? They got the job done. They won in a different way. They're not going to fall out of the top 4 at the end of the weekend.
I usually like to sidestep a sporting cliche like a 2011 Sean Johnson, but I feel that the mark of a good team is to win ugly, and that's exactly what they did. I mean, yes, the golden point moment with the perfect clutch drop goal from Shawnee J was majestic, but building up to that, there were some passes thrown that are extremely regrettable from our celebrated halves pairing. The Metcalf-Johnson hands were not around that night, and also the try scored by Cameron and they did it into golden point over time. There was some shocking defence here. I don't think I've seen a team just outflank someone with the clock counting down to 80 like that before. So, look, they still got the win, though, and that's what you say about those teams that have got something special, don't you?
Yeah, that's it. You just win in a different way. And I mean, we at the start of the year were saying, hey, we'd love the Warriors to be top 8. Then, we start saying, well, actually, is this a top 4 team? We had Jake Duke, the wonderfully named Jake Duke from Fox on yesterday. He's talking about the Warriors as a potential top 2 side now. What's going on?
Well, what's going on is, how I was bleating, not so much proper bleating, but saying that we lacked a bit of X factor. Well, Rocco Berry's put his hand up, hasn't he, really? And now, as we've got a centre who's a bit like Bradman Best, with no discernible neck, who likes to run through brick walls, but can also spot gaps. So that's where we're trending now, with dangers or threats across the park.
Hey, just before you go, rugby. I know there's no rugby on this weekend, and we've had a bit of a rugby-free zone. But I just want to ask you about All Blacks Wallabies, which is next Saturday. Is Tawara Barlow going to play for the Wallabies? Has this raised its head again?
It has, and they're saying that he might get a run for Australia A just before the start of the World Cup, and then that might pave the way for him to get a shot at making the Eddie's squad. I mean, Dave Rennie, I think if Dave Rennie was still coach, Tawara Barlow would be in the team. I'd say it'd already be there, but now, or maybe there is a stand-down period, but that would have been ultimately the plan. But look, I think they're well served for halfbacks. I like Tate McDermott, the cabin boy, as we call him, the ACC, and the time traveller, Nick White, very good. But TKB is just an exceptional player, just won 2 European Cups with La Rochelle. I mean, you're getting him almost at his peak, and so that would make the Wallabies a different beast. But as for Eddie Jones trying to say, look out All Blacks, he's just the last showman. Look over Hugh Jackman. This guy knows how to sell tickets. That's all I can say.
Gee, I love our chats, James. Thanks as always for joining us, mate. James McOnie, Craig Goes Wild, Alternative Commentary Collective, Kiwi Football Fix, and all across your social media platforms, and on Sunday afternoons here on News Talk ZB and on Weekend Sport.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday, or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.